I have a very small toilet in my bathroom. Right? This is not an industrial grade toilet, okay? It's not like one of the commercials where it says, prepared for whatever life throws at you. No. This toilet's not prepared, right? So actually,
bad taco from Taco Bell.
So when I have respectfully, cleaned, everything and done my business, I stand by, plunger ready, right? Like a Spartan and his spear. And I flush the toilet and wait for an attack. So you got to be on top.
Yeah.
So the last time I plunged a toilet was the last time I went to the bathroom. Okay?
That's today.
It's today or yesterday.
Okay. Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is a new
everybody.
podcast. It might have been like demon possessed. It was a fairly large, mutated looking chicken. We were born in the north, but we grew up in the south.
We learned all of our words from Pennsylvania.
And people are, that's toboggan. That little toboggan
Not
there.
a toboggan. A toboggan is a sled.
Okay.
0.3 inches, baby.
Dude, I can't take it. So you're going to work for someone else over the summer at a church, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Explain a little bit of that opportunity.
Okay, so a couple of years ago, Pastor David at our church, he recommended, that I think about doing something with Brother Coleman because he has a need there at Way of the Cross Baptist Church in Conyers. So, I kind of thought about it and I said, that sounds good, but personally, I don't think I'm ready to do anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time I wasn't. But I did mention it to my dad. And, he mentioned it to me again this year and really insisted that I, give Brother Coleman a call and talk to him about, working for his company and also helping him out at the church whenever, doing what he needs me to do. So I gave him a call and talked to him, and he's all for the idea. So,
Cool.
He'll, he does a lot from electrical to construction to landscaping, I think. So I don't know where he'll put me, probably to start in the warehouse doing some stuff. So, but he said that he doesn't like slackers. So, I'm expecting to put in some hard work.
Yeah. Is it just for the summer?
Yeah, for the foreseeable future, it'll be for the summer, and then after that, I'll continue schooling.
Cool.
Are you gonna drive all the way up there
Yeah.
every day?
No.
No.
I'll be staying in one of the cabins at the church.
How far is it away? You're in Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
South of
It's
Atlanta.
an hour.
It's an hour and a half.
It's an hour and a half.
Cool.
But it feels like a long drive.
Do you
Oh
have
my
to go
gosh.
through Atlanta to get to it, or you can go around?
Sort of. It's sort of.
I'll probably go
yeah.
around.
Gotcha.
But how is that gonna work? Are you gonna go up there for the entire summer and stay in one of their cabins?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and I'll get to hang out with my boys Mason and Logan. So, because they live.
Oh yeah, they live up there, don't
Yeah.
they? Yeah.
Mason is 30 minutes from there, and Logan is 15.
Oh, but yeah, very nice.
So.
So, for some people who don't know anything about you, you're Ethan Goforth.
Yeah, that's right.
You're Wyatt's brother. You're in school in seminary, and you're in training to be a pastor, training to be a preacher of the gospel of the Bible. Your studies is essentially the Bible.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
What is that kind of like? I guess because a lot of people, I know I didn't go to any college for any kind of biblical teaching or anything like that. Mackenzie did, but what is it like like your college essentially just studying the Bible, kind of, I mean, it's kind of all isn't it?
Yeah. That, I mean, Pastor David said something that I've always, stuck to. If you can't do, if you're called to the ministry, called to be a preacher or teacher of the gospel, you won't be able to do anything else. Even if you try, it'll, Jeremiah, I think it was Jeremiah. He said that, to preach obviously I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember but he said it, it burned in his bones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to preach, even though God told him that he'd be preaching for 40 years and no one would listen, but he said it burned in his bones. He had to do it. So, you won't be able to do anything else if that's what God has called you to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Brother Coleman is a businessman, so he obviously does other things, but he can't help but preach.
Yeah.
God has obviously called him to that, and that's the case with a lot of other preachers.
And so you see, you're believing that for yourself as well because you feel called.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it what year are you in college, and out of how many?
Third. I'm in my third year. Out of how many, I can't honestly say because it'll probably be a while before I'm done with my bachelor's, just because of
Do they take it at a slower pace?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
more out of circumstance, kind of because I have to.
Yeah.
Necessity.
Gotcha,
That's it.
gotcha.
But I'm only 21, so I've got plenty of time.
Yeah.
As for
Slurping.
sorry about that. As for the atmosphere and the just general learning experience and studying and all that, I'll tell you, I hate studying.
Really?
I hate studying. It is, if I didn't bring it to the Lord every day, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just not a very good student in all honesty, but that's one of the things I'm learning how to be is a student.
Gotcha.
A student of the Word of God, a student of people, and I'm gonna have to learn how to do that, for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So that is really hard, as well as when you're studying the Bible, when you're trying to get to know the Lord, you're under constant spiritual warfare, because Satan, the flesh, and the world, which are our three enemies, don't want you to succeed. Everyone in the world is going to try to, push you away from that, get you to slip up, make a bad name for Christ, essentially. And the flesh is going to constantly be, tempting you and trying to get you to stray away. And same with the enemy, so you're under constant attack because that's your focus for life, is God.
Mm-hmm.
And, our enemies don't necessarily, if you're saved, the best place you can be in for them is, I'll use this saying, a pew sitting Christian. You just go to the pew and that's all you do.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not mean to make that a rhyme, but it worked.
It works. I thought it was part of the
That's all
saying.
you do. Yeah.
Yeah. You go to the pew, that's all you do.
You go to the pew and that's all you do, man. That's a t-shirt.
So
what is it called?
Yeah.
Like, you should do like lukewarm Christian or something
Yeah,
like that.
that's what it. Yeah, some people lukewarm.
yeah.
I had a question. It was
I
there.
have
It was
one.
on the tip of my tongue. You go ahead.
We'll round back to it.
Yeah, we'll circle
Um,
around.
So the state of the world right now, Ethan, as a young 21-year-old guy, looking at the world, and the world wouldn't necessarily say that Christians are hated. They would say that they're more actually privileged because of the history of America and stuff. But many times as a Christian, what you do see day to day, and especially if you're a very straightforward Christian like yourself that is showing or preparing to preach the gospel as a career, as a calling, as a ministry, as a literal belief of that you're called to do this by God. you mentioned people come to the pews. What is it? I already forgot what it was. You go to the pew, sit in the pew, and that's all you do.
Yeah.
It seems like the majority of Christians today, that's what they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you look at the way the world views Christianity and pastors and the gospel, even from the outside of the church and inside of the church, what is your heart for that? Like, because you're young, you're getting into this world. What is your heart going into ministry? What do you think God's put on your heart for your ministry?
It's hard to say at this point. When God called me to preach, I'm pretty sure it was at a missions conference, if I remember correctly. And the verse that God used was Mark 16:15, I think it is.
Yeah.
But anyway, the verse is, "Go ye into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature."
Mm-hmm.
And then at Camp Fairview in Tennessee, Miss Sheila was teaching for the missionary stories,
Mm-hmm.
And throughout that week, I felt like God is calling me to missions, missionary work. I don't know where. It could be in another country. It could be here in America. I know that lately, my burden for my own country has grown,
Mm-hmm.
which is, to be honest, has been very, very lax in the past, just since I've been saved and seen America's need. I haven't really cared that much,
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the closer I'm getting to the Lord, the more I am seeing his heart towards America and his sorrow for America, and so, the closer I am to the Lord, the more broken I am over it,
Mm-hmm.
the state of our country. But at the same time, as Christians, we can't forget that God tells us to pray for those that he puts in authority over us.
Mm-hmm.
So pray for our president, pray for vice president, which, even if we don't agree with them, even if we don't like them, even if we think they're stupid and incompetent, still pray for them and pray that God will save them and that God will use them ultimately for his glory. It's hard to do, but it's something that we need to do. And it's also hard to be willing to go to your own people, if you understand what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to go into another country.
Oh yeah.
Where there's usually a language barrier, and give the gospel to those people. Whereas growing,
it's easy to go to people who are in certain situations,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
where they're gonna listen,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And there's a clear need that you can meet for them.
yeah,
personally.
and you can help
Yeah.
them,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whereas here, Americans don't see themselves as needing help,
Yeah.
right?
mm-hmm.
Even
Part of ministries
Yeah.
are going and providing clothes, providing housing, providing water, sustainability,
Mhm.
right? Americans don't need that. We've got it.
That's interesting. So I guess that's the
Yeah.
question. How do you? This is strange language, and I know even doctrinally it doesn't line up. But how do you sell God to a nation that's already been offered God in the past, and they already have everything they need? So there's no clear way to show Christ through your actions to them, other than just be nice. But it can be nice by plenty of different people, like plenty of people are nice to them constantly. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So like you said, the terminology "sell God" to America isn't necessarily doctrinally correct.
Exactly.
But I definitely get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's all a matter of the Holy Spirit doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm interested because I know what you're talking about, but there might be some people that are listening that don't actually understand. So, actually, you have a question, don't you?
I don't remember it.
Well,
So-
I guess I don't know how deep to dive into theology, honestly. If it's a good idea or we should move on to something else. But explain kind of roughly that viewpoint of all the sovereignty of God, you know?
Yeah.
From a theological standpoint, explain that process a little bit for people who aren't super familiar with theology.
Okay. Now, I'm not a great scholar yet, you know. I don't know if I ever will be, so I'll do my best to describe it in layman's terms. Every Christian is called to go into all the world and preach the gospel. You know, some are called to be preachers, some are called to be teachers, other men are called to be laymen in the church, called to be deacons. God has a specific place for everyone, and every Christian is supposed to serve where he puts them. No place is necessarily greater than the other. You know, each place is unique, and everyone has unique connections to, you know, different people.
Yeah.
So just because you're not a preacher and you're not a teacher does not mean you're not supposed to be a witness for Christ. Number one, you have your family to be a witness to. Number two, you have the people in your workplace. Now, there's a time and a place to talk, you know, a time to talk and a time to be quiet. You know, there are days at work I don't talk about, you know, the Lord or talk about the gospel, but anytime I get the chance, I do. Whether, you know, people may not necessarily like me because I do that, but they respect me because they know where I stand. And I've remained steadfast for the past 2 years working at my job. So, you know, none of those people that I've talked to really want God in, you know, the sense that you were talking about.
I do want to ask a little bit about like the India trip. I know that was canceled.
Yeah.
Was it just because they're not letting people into the country, or is it Corona related?
It's Corona related. They're only letting natives back into the country. So they're not issuing the tourist visas. So we weren't able to go for that reason.
Right.
But Eliezer's still going over there. He has the camps and everything planned, and his dad and uncle are going to be preaching for the camps and the pastors' conferences and everything that they've got lined up.
Will he be able to come back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll come back after about 3 weeks over there.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. I'm curious, since we're talking about like different people like Pastor David and such, we should give a little bit of a context about, you know, who they are, what church they belong to, how that relates to all of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we've talked about this in the past, you know, growing up, you've grown up in Georgia and some, when your teen years, Pennsylvania and such. But it's all kind of connected. And actually me and Joshua are connected to this church.
Well, we might keep the church names like off here.
Yeah. I won't call
okay.
I won't name the church.
I didn't know. I didn't know if you're name dropping.
Yeah. But you've already name dropped Pastor David, so we'll just roll with that. But there's a church in Georgia that my dad it's an older church, like it's been around for a while. My dad would go to the church there when he was growing up, and that's kind of how got connected. The generation before us, pretty
when
much.
When did Pastor David start preaching at the church?
When he was 27.
27.
Wow.
So he was right out of Vietnam, right?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and
finish college.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and drop the name of the church, Peachtree Baptist Church. You know, I'm sure Pastor David will love that. You know, Peachtree Baptist Church of Sonoy, Georgia.
Don't tell them the location.
Well, people need to know where we are. That's where the college is too.
But they've been there. Pastor David has been there.
Yeah.
Since he was 27. How old is he now, Ethan?
Oh, I think he's 73, 74. I think he's 73.
Right. He's been pastoring that church for years. Right. And the church has changed names and changed locations, changed, people have come and gone.
Yeah.
Right.
The core group has remained the same though.
Yeah.
There's been a core group that stuck there, families and
Yeah,
such.
like Jerry and Carol and
And Chester and Yvonne. And
yeah. So, it's been going for a while, right? But and your dad went there.
Yeah. Which
right?
I'm curious, how did your family start going to Peachtree? Was it through Maranatha? Because it would be your dad. Right?
Maybe.
So I think Daddy heard about it from Dr. Lucilius.
Yeah.
Because Daddy started going to Maranatha when he was 5.
Oh, wow.
And Mama went up there. Mama got involved with the church because she was going to the school that they had, and eventually she went to the college. Daddy came for the college, went to the college a little bit. And that's kind of how they met.
Yeah. So we met at camp. Camp
Has
got
been
everybody to
camp in Pennsylvania. Maranatha has been the cornerstone.
Yeah.
For the friendships and the foundations of many people's friendships.
Oh, yeah.
And even maybe futures, man.
Well, I mean, people at Maranatha heard of it from Doc Lucilius. People in Georgia went up to the camp because Doc Lucilius, right? And so there's a lot of communication and stories and families that have become friends and grown and around that, right?
And I believe it was Dr. Lucilius that, Dan Dahlgren got to know my mom.
Yeah.
He brought her to Camp Maranatha, where she met Dr. Lucilius, where she ended up in Georgia as a teacher at the school and met my dad. Dr. Lucilius, I probably wouldn't be around if it wasn't for that old test.
Doc was, I mean, and if you go even further back, right, Pastor David needed someone to work with him at Peachtree, right? And so he was sending out letters, right? I don't remember. I remember the story was told recently, but I don't remember exactly how it went. But he sent a letter to Dr. Lucilius, right, who was doing his ministry in the camp at that time, and he was like, so this little church in Georgia, right, I feel called to go there.
Yeah.
Right? So he went.
He just went.
So he went.
Yeah.
It was but I mean
because it's an interesting story. I don't know all of it, but I know that a lot of people kicked Doc out because they didn't like he was preaching truth. But one, there was a need at Peachtree, and Dr. Lucilius filled it, and he's been filling it and been honoring it, and now he's a pastor at the church. And he's crazy old, but he's still got the preach in him.
So for those of you who don't know Dr. Lucilius, think like Oogway from Kung Fu Panda.
Oogway,
right?
Definitely. Does he have a staff?
He has a cane now.
Just says his little staff.
Right? But
he hits me with it sometimes.
He's like old and wise,
I remember one time Dr. Lucilius, we were in the cafeteria getting lunch during the camp meeting.
Yeah.
We were having sloppy joes, and he came up behind me and he's like, "Oh, untidy Josephs."
Yeah. Untidy Josephs.
Untidy Josephs.
Yeah.
Friggin',
he's always been very funny in like a quiet northern, Pennsylvania.
He has a very Pennsylvania
very
accent.
Pennsylvania northern.
Sounds like
kind
my
of way.
grandma. Him and my grandma.
Well,
talk
see,
the same
like,
way.
but I mean the his influence, right? On our lives, on my dad's life, on our lives growing up, on even going back, moving to Pennsylvania. The church we went to was Ray Leseski's church, right? And Ray and Melda were close friends with Doc.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. He went to their house and witnessed to them. Right? And then they got saved, and Ray started a church. And I mean, And
He's
so,
been around in almost everybody in our
Yeah.
group's life.
yeah.
you know?
So, he's our Uguay.
He is our Uguay.
He's just always there.
He's just gonna one day just float into
He'll
one of the
float
trees.
away.
He'll just float away. We'll be
If
like, where'd
anybody,
he go?
if anybody deserves to float away, it's Dr. Lucilius.
Yes,
He
absolutely.
deserves
Yeah.
to
Just completely
He walked
unnatural.
with God and was not.
Exactly.
And
Like
Like
was
Enoch.
and was not.
he just disappears one day.
Do you think what do you think when it talks about how Elijah was brought up? Did it specify a flaming chariot or something of that nature?
Yeah.
Do you think
It was
that's
a flaming chariot.
a flaming chariot?
Yeah.
Do you think it kind of looked more like a ball of light, or
I have no idea.
I don't know that they would have described it as a flaming chariot unless it was
Yeah.
something akin to, I mean, you've seen the way a chariot moves, right? It's, at speed and right? I mean, what did they have to compare it to?
exactly?
Yeah,
right?
I'd need to look at the
I don't know that
Hebrew word for it, but
I don't know that
I
it
don't
was
wanna do that
actually a
now.
chariot, right?
It might have looked like a flame that he kind of stood up in.
It was something that moved fast. So what the writer could compare it to was a chariot.
Yeah.
And it was something he could get on board.
You there, Ethan? There we go.
I'm here.
It was something he could get on board and go off. I know what you did. You were picking your nose.
I was not. I was scratching
Wait,
my nose.
are you a nose picker?
No, he was. I'm sure he was
No.
scratching his nose.
No.
But I'm like, why did
I
he?
was doing this. I was like that, and I was like, okay, no one wants to see me go like.
No, I think we need to take a moment where all three of us just pick our nose a little,
Even on the live.
just a little bit.
Even on the live, you had something right here, and you were looking at me, and I'm over off frame. I'm like,
You're telling
I'm
me?
looking at your eyes, and I'm like,
It's a.
You didn't tell me.
I was like,
It's a very irritating thing to have. Your nostrils just full of stuff.
you
Do you
think
ever get nose hairs hanging out yet?
I have a nose
Yes,
trimmer.
I do.
Well, I do too, but sometimes I think I just cut my nose hairs and I got a freaking grass growing.
Well, also my mustache seems to want to
Opposite.
like go up.
Oh, but that's kind of
go
hot.
up your
though.
nose.
It goes up. It goes up.
Well,
like,
I don't
over
know
here.
about that.
No, a mustache that kind of goes into the nose. It's a little hot.
It goes up, so it's like they kind of blend in.
They kind of blend in.
Okay.
You're like, oh, this is
Blend in.
just residual
Right?
mustache.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's part of my mustache.
Freaking
Right?
residual
So
mustache.
if it happens, I don't have to worry about it too much.
Yeah. If you
Yeah.
got to pick your nose, Ethan, just go for it, man.
Okay.
Don't be ashamed. This
Yeah.
is a podcast.
So what?
All right. I'll just pick away.
All right.
Like a gold digger.
Good.
What are your plans
Big.
for like camp? Are you not going to camp or anything?
Maranatha.
Maranatha,
Probably
Fairview.
not. I want to go to Fairview. I'll talk to Brother Coleman about it. But if I'll stay there and not go to Fairview. If
Yeah.
That's what I need to do. But I'll talk to him about it. So I actually need to call him and get things finalized and figure out what we're doing.
Okay.
So
I'm curious because we've talked to Wyatt some about this. Do you only have good memories of Maranatha or just kind of like you live there memories for a while? Like what are your memories of Maranatha these days since you guys lived there for so many years? Like, because you were young going to camp and you were there
Yeah.
at camp. But give us your thoughts.
So it was probably the point in my life when I changed most. And that I remember very clearly, just from the time we got there when I was 10 till we left when I was closer to 18.
Oh, yeah, you definitely went through some changes during that period of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Physically, definitely, puberty, mentally, spiritually,
Yeah.
just because I was called to preach there. I preached my first time when I was 16. I did stupid things. I kind of made friends, but not really. I learned basic social skills there.
Yeah.
A lot happened, and I remember it very fondly. And I treasure that time, probably the most I've ever treasured any time in my life.
But do you have whimsical memories? Like,
oh, definitely.
okay, so
Definitely,
you
yeah.
have sort of that childhood Peter Pan memories associated with that, and you do as well. But it's also kind of, it's like a cloudy day in some ways. I feel like
Not the whimsical
well,
one.
you can separate it.
There were some clouds.
There were clouds.
But,
There was clouds. There was snow. There was, broken down cars.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, there were memories that came along with that. Right. There was days I remember in particular that sucked more than any other days. Right.
Yeah.
But even with like the broken down cars, I don't remember the fact that the car was broken down. Right. I remember that, there was a guy there who, let us use his workshop where he parked his car and let us park the car in there. And he had like this big industrial heater and you turned it on and it was like a jet turbine. It went and it had a little flame coming out of it too, like a jet turbine. And
Denny Claypool.
Yeah, Denny was there from day one.
Really?
Right?
Yeah.
Like and I mean that. I'm talking like when we pulled up to the house at, I don't know, 12 o'clock at night.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock in the morning. It was really late, right?
Denny was there.
Denny was already there, waiting to help us unpack.
Really?
We didn't know Denny.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and last time
He just knew someone was showing up.
Last time I was at camp, me and Denny were reminiscing about, fixing the car, about me and him installed a hot water heater, right?
I remember that. I was there. I didn't help.
You weren't there you were not there for the hot water heater.
I was there for at least one hot water heater because we changed a lot of hot water heaters over those years.
We did change a lot. The one I'm thinking of, you weren't there. It was me and Denny, but we did change a lot of hot water.
Yeah,
heaters.
Stay out of his good memory, Ethan.
Yeah, get out. Get out.
This is my memory.
But yeah, we were talking about all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then there's like days where you woke up and you looked outside and it was the snow coming down. It wasn't just snow. The way the light hit it, it was like pixie dust.
It was
right?
Tinkerbell.
It was magic. You'd look outside. I remember one of the strangest days. I looked outside and there was a power line that went from above the roof of our house down to the little garage. That thing, was a normal size power line.
Yeah.
Right. It was ice all the way down. It was ice.
Nice.
Right. And I'm like looking around. I'm looking outside. Everything was ice.
That sounds beautiful.
I think some of the memories like that for me was because even in the winter, I was in the trees beside our house. I'd put on the gloves and I knew that there would be ice on the branches, so I went slowly because I had to climb up one tree to get to the big tree, go a couple trees over up in the higher branches. But just being up there, in the trees and then looking out with a higher view, seeing the snow on top of the other trees and on the house, on the garage, up the driveway. That was some of the most magical times ever.
Ethan had this little area up in one of the hemlock trees, right? And he had like some boards up there that he had placed.
I made a platform with a cup holder on it, and I dragged it up the tree with a chain, and then I chained it around the tree so I could go up there
and drink your beer.
Drink
my beer.
I'd bring a thermos, set my hot tea or coffee in the cup holder.
Yeah.
At night with a blanket or a jacket and a blanket, when it's 10 degrees below zero outside, and just
look around.
So Ethan has this completely. Ethan has these memories of being in that tree that are all his own.
No fair.
They're mine.
They are his. There was nobody else going up there. I didn't even think about it I never even thought about, I knew his little platform was up there, but I never thought about going up there and sitting in it, especially not at night.
Is it still there?
No.
No, I took it down.
Yeah.
But I went up there at night too.
Yeah.
In the winter.
Ethan
as
went
well.
up there all the time. When it comes to winter, I have my own special memories of, sitting by the wood stove, right? Blowing on the coals with a straw.
I did that every morning.
Right?
I was up at like 5, reading my Bible.
Late at night, getting it warm, sitting by the wood stove.
I hear
With the dryer on at your back.
What I'm hearing is every time Wyatt comes up with a memory, Ethan's like, "Oh yeah, I did that."
But Ethan was
that.
usually there in the morning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mine was usually at night.
Yeah, because Wyatt was still asleep.
Yeah, I didn't wake up.
He was usually awake when I was asleep.
Yeah.
Okay, so bring me into this
they're the-
world of Maranatha during the winter. Because I've never seen the snow down there. I've seen Pennsylvania snow. I was born in Pennsylvania, but I've never went to Maranatha when it was snowing.
So Maranatha was, Kittanning is in a valley, and Armstrong County is even lower in the valley.
Worthington.
And
the camp.
Then the camp is in an even lower valley.
Yeah.
Right down beside the creek.
So that
And
inner
so-
Earth is like
Yeah,
a few inches away.
It's real close.
Oh yeah.
But so the snow, we got so much snow, and some days we couldn't get out of the camp.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even though that hill isn't very small, the hills on either side,
They're pretty big and steep.
yeah. But then even going down Creek Road,
Yeah.
there's a hill at the end of that road that you got to try to climb. Now,
Yeah.
if you get down there, that one's probably,
Doable.
that one's probably been salted and everything, so you're
Yeah.
probably good.
Yeah.
But there were some treacherous times.
You didn't try to go up that one hill that goes up to the cornfields?
It wasn't going up that was as
Airport
dangerous.
Road?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh no, you're
Going
thinking
down.
You're thinking of the other one going up.
Yeah, the steep
Yeah.
one.
Airport
the big
Road.
end.
Not Airport Road, not the one going
No?
up to Kristen's house.
No.
The other one.
We're not going to the neighborhood. We're going up the cornfield and then back down
like
the other
up
side.
past the village to the right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
yeah, that one. Got it.
Yeah, that one wasn't as dangerous going up. Going
now,
down.
Now, going down it on a sled, dude,
That sounds
that
insane.
was crazy.
Or like John Mark and I were going to college one morning, and we managed to get up that hill.
Mm-hmm.
And John Mark was like, he's like, man, I don't know if we should go to college today. We got to drive 40 minutes over there. And then he was driving around. Once you get up, there's like a
there's
little
few
house,
turns.
and then there's a little turn, and we slid right around that turn and almost off the road, and we were like, text the professor, we're not coming in. He's
Yeah.
like, I don't even want to try to get to Worthington,
Yeah.
right?
Because
Yeah.
you got to go a good ways just to get off those back roads from camp.
Oof.
Now, if any of you guys that are watching have missed it, me and Joshua went to Camp Maranatha
But it was in the summer.
during the summer for it's September's that's summer, right? September's
August.
It's getting close.
Yeah, September.
But for the 100th episode, you can watch it on YouTube. We
Well,
showed some B-roll.
It was still nice then.
Yeah, it was. It was beautiful. We camped in
Yeah.
a tent.
So you got to experience the summer whimsy
And
right?
fall, actually.
and fall,
Yeah,
but not the winter.
not the winter.
And there were, and for a little while we had a 4-wheeler running.
Oh yeah.
So we were tying
We
ropes,
still have the-
chains.
I saw a video DJ shared today on Facebook of you, and I think Ethan was in it. You guys had that 4-wheeler out.
I was like ghost riding the whip. Oh, no.
Well,
That wasn't even in the winter.
No, it wasn't. It was just on grass.
Yeah. So
yeah, that was great.
So we were, just in the field. We were driving the 4-wheeler around, and we managed to attach a mattress to the 4-wheeler and just slinging each other around.
Now-
you got hurt, didn't you, Ethan?
I almost broke my thumb.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hey, but it was great.
it was great.
you know,
It
I
looked
still
like a good
did it.
time. It made me laugh because DJ was filming it with whatever thing he had at the time. This was a while ago.
Phone.
And he said, "I have a dangerous job. I have to hold on with only one hand." And I hear you just go like, "I can do it without holding on at all." the back of the sled keeps you on it.
I remember that.
You just are like, I can do it with no hands,
No
DJ. No hands, man. You're being dragged by a four-wheeler on a sled on grass and dirt.
On a mattress.
On a mattress.
mattress.
Did that not tear up the ground?
Oh, it did.
Oh, well, what kind of groundskeepers were you guys?
Oh, trust me.
You were destroying the ground.
The grass would grow back.
Trust me.
within the next
That
5
grass
minutes.
would always grow
Yeah,
back.
it was always moist down there.
Dude, you would cut down a tree, right? Or a tree would fall, and it'd be sitting on top of grass for months as you chopped up the tree slowly and managed to get it out of the way. And then, if it was summer, the grass grew back. Boom.
No problem.
No problem.
No problem.
So, but man, winter with the four-wheeler and the sleds,
Dude.
Very great.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Righteous, dude. It's righteous.
You almost got crushed by the four-wheeler, right?
When was that?
Before you started remembering things.
Was it you or me who hit? We were going down. There was like,
I think that was you.
okay,
I mean, I know by myself I almost flipped it a couple times, but I never told anyone that.
yeah. There was once when I flipped it over on its side because I hit a bundle of little trees.
I
Right.
believe there's a name for that.
What?
I'm not going to say.
Okay. So there was a bundle of tiny trees, baby trees, saplings. Is that what you were gonna say?
Nope.
Okay. What? I want to know the word.
What do you call? I mean, it's the traditional word for a bundle of sticks.
Oh no, this wasn't like
No.
this wasn't like
No.
cut down trees. These were green trees. So when the four-wheeler hit it, they bent over, right? But they resisted enough for me to flip the four-wheeler on its side.
Yeah.
And then there was one instance where John Mark and I were on some back like, trails and hills, and we were sort of like this, riding like this on the side, and the four-wheeler started to tip, and so we jumped off. But then it was just sliding and then going straight down, and we were like, "No, what are we?"
Where was it going down to?
It was going down towards. So there was Creek Road, and then there was a hill.
Yes.
But there were these trees and an old unused train track, and so we were here, and it was going down towards the train track.
Oh man.
It just rolling slowly, and I told John Mark, I'm like, we're running down the hill, and I'm like, stay out of the way. So I jumped on the four-wheeler, hit the brake, and just
Kinda
slowly came to a
slowly
stop.
go down,
So I
yeah.
very slowly, heroically saved the
You essentially Superman dived onto a moving vehicle, stopped it in
Yeah.
time to
Yeah.
save.
Yeah.
the vehicle.
But I knew if I turned it, it was over. It was gonna.
Dang, man. Freaking, okay, Ethan, what was the, we've done an episode with you on the Midnight Special called Everybody Hates Ethan. What's the biggest, if it's appropriate, what's the biggest discipline you ever received while at camp, during camp?
From somebody
From
that
anybody.
wasn't our parents.
It don't matter. Well, actually, yeah, no, let's leave your parents out of it. What's the biggest discipline you remember ever receiving at camp?
It's hard. I remember one time, I remember DJ yelling at me once. That was
Okay.
hard because DJ was always quiet, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So when DJ yelled at me, I was like,
Oh, man.
Oh no.
it was rough. That made an impression.
Yeah.
But actual punishment, honestly, I can't remember. Because during camp, I was always good, you know? For the most part, I was good.
No.
No.
You were
Well,
not good
maybe
during camp.
In my later years.
In your later
Yeah,
years.
your
yeah.
adult years or your
But
young teenage years.
I can't remember, you know, the last time I was spanked or seriously
Disciplined.
disciplined. Yeah.
Oh, you just
But
stay
he
out of
was.
trouble these
But he
days,
was
don't
spanked
you?
more than any other kid.
Yeah, on Earth probably.
I mean, so much.
So much.
I mean, we had to devise new tactics.
Mm-hmm.
My mother had to devise new tactics to punish him.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this then. Did you ever do anything? If you have one at camp, I'd like to hear this story, but it doesn't have to be. Have you ever done anything that you haven't ever told anybody that you kept a secret because you knew you would get in so much trouble if anyone found out? Like you would get serious discipline. Have you been?
Oh, I'm sure.
Do you have any that comes to mind? Any good stories?
I shot a bird with a BB gun.
Oh,
I didn't
classic.
mean to hit it.
No, we never do.
We never do.
It was not my intention, but I hit it. I was like,
Did you get it right in the head?
no.
He's like, yeah, it was a sick shot.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I hit it, and then it flew off, and then it fell. So
oh
it wasn't in the head.
man, what kind of bird
Yeah,
was it?
It was a robin.
Ah, those are beautiful.
It was not a
birds.
mockingbird. You don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, we got you. I understand.
What's the biggest discipline you ever got, Wyatt?
From somebody else?
Yeah. Wyatt was a good kid. Everyone loved him.
I tend to block those memories out,
Yeah.
right? Because for the most part, unless it was like something dumb I said, right? Or I was just being generally like a jerk, right? For some reason or another. I usually didn't feel like the discipline was warranted.
Yeah.
So
Now for me, it was always.
and
it was.
and
warranted.
so my
You don't
dad.
remember half of your bad activity.
So my dad knew this,
Yeah.
right?
That you had a complex.
Well, my dad knew that somebody would tell me something, and I would very respectfully nod and agree and yes and in one ear out the other, right? If they were like, no, you were not allowed to be swimming in the creek, you were not allowed to be going out into the woods at night or jumping off the rock, I'd be like, yeah, yes, you're right, yeah. And then I, in
go
one
do
ear
it.
out the other, I was like,
I'm gonna go jump off the croc into the creek.
I'm
at
doing right.
Yeah.
jump off the rock in the
because
creek. at night.
we did it all year round.
We did it, yeah. Oh, so,
except for the winter, of
so
course.
okay, so when we started living there, and camp started, right, and then people started telling you what you weren't allowed to do at camp.
Oh no,
Yeah,
no, that's not allowed.
That was rough.
you're not allowed to leave the camp whenever It's like, oh,
Actually, I've done this 100,000
Right.
times already.
it
I'm gonna jump off the rock.
What started happening was it got frustrating.
Yeah.
Right? Because, it got frustrating because as you got older, people were like, all the kids were like, yeah, we're working in the kitchen, right? This is our, and they were like, Wyatt, you working in the kitchen? And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
And so
I loved working. in the
people would
kitchen.
get upset. People would get annoyed at me because I wasn't working in the kitchen. And I'm like,
I didn't.
I was like, you fix the pipes and the toilets and do all the mowing, right? And the weed whacking and painting and stuff. And then tell me you want to work in the kitchen the 1 week that you're not,
Not working on
working.
anything. Yeah, I hear that. Actually, the reason I never worked in the kitchen, because a lot of people I wanted to hang out with were in there.
Mm-hmm.
At the start of the week, I'd be like, Wyatt, are you working in the kitchen? And you'd be like, heck
Nope.
no. And I would be like, me
All right,
neither.
all right.
Me neither. I'm going to hang with you, man. Why did you like working in the kitchen, Ethan? There were gals in there.
Yeah,
that
there
you
were
enjoyed
girls.
hanging
That
out
was
with.
it. That
There
was
were
it.
girls
That
in
You
was
the
gonna
it.
kitchen.
drop any
Yeah.
names right quick?
No, we're not dropping.
No.
We're not name dropping.
No, not dropping names.
But
Sure.
it's we have a
sure.
small community.
People, small
Right?
Yeah.
community. Community might
community.
still be intact.
Right.
Yeah. So probably
But-
best not to drop names.
But what started chapping my hide was like I would go into the kitchen to get stuff,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know if you experienced this, Ethan, because you worked in the kitchen. But during the week, I would go into the kitchen to get stuff, right? And people working in the kitchen would be like, "Yeah, you can't come into the kitchen."
The last few years, I didn't work in the kitchen. I didn't want to work in the kitchen,
Yeah.
so I didn't. I mean, every now and then, maybe one or two of the days in the week, I was like, so I went in there and helped.
Yeah.
But I definitely understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Kicked out of the kitchen.
They'd be like,
walk
"You're not
around.
allowed to be in the kitchen." They're like, somebody, I don't remember who it was, right? But somebody was like, "If you're not working in the kitchen, you need to get out of the kitchen." And I said,
I remember who it was.
and I said,
I'm not saying it.
and I said, I work in the camp.
The kitchen's in the camp.
The kitchen is in the camp, right? I work here all year round.
I'm
right?
gonna walk through the kitchen.
And you come around once every couple weeks. I work here, so.
Well, okay. No, I don't think she was doing much of this when you guys were.
I didn't
living
say
there.
she.
Oh, I'm gonna talk
No,
about
no.
your aunt Christina for a second.
Christina?
Yeah. Because
Okay.
she scared me out of the kitchen.
Oh.
Because she'll let you walk through the kitchen, but she's going to comment on what you're doing. She's going to ask you what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to chastise you, make fun of you a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that's totally
she would
Nina.
destroy
She's
Yeah.
going to say, are you supposed to be anywhere? And if you are, you got to try to make up something, but she knows when you're lying.
Yeah.
Christina, I avoided the
She would
kitchen
grill
when she
you.
was in there. Not because she didn't let you go through, but she was like the
There was a
gremlin
toll
at the
for
bottom
going
of
through.
the bridge. You got to
Yeah,
answer her riddles 3 to get
Her
through.
riddles. Well, it was what if people were working in the kitchen, like cooking, I didn't go in the kitchen.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of respectful,
Right.
and also who wants to be in there when
Yeah,
there's a bunch of
Okay, hey,
people
guys,
cooking?
I got to stop you. We're forgetting the mud cave.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Dude.
All right. Well, finish what you're saying, and
I'm
we'll
done.
wrap it up with the mud cave.
I'm done.
No, what were you saying?
I was just it was that 1 year where somebody was, getting on to me for being in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Right. And I got fed up with it. And I was like, I'm here all year round. All the time I am here.
Yeah, it's the nerve of some people
I was like, I am here
to
all
know that you're there.
the time. And just because you are volunteering
Doesn't mean you
to
get tell
clean
people.
dishes, right? To clean dishes.
And also the
not
kitchen-
even a cook.
The kitchen was the hangout spot. So for a lot of the people that were in there, like you, Ethan, there was perks to working in the kitchen. So
Yeah.
you had to pay your dues to have fun and to hang out with people you were
Right.
interested in hanging out with.
So it chapped somebody else's hide that I wasn't working in the kitchen, but I, was going in and out of the kitchen whenever I wanted, right? And I was like, look, you're just volunteering to clean dishes, right, after meals, okay? I live here.
When you're gone, I have to clean the entire kitchen,
I gotta clean the kitchen.
the whole thing.
Right? When nobody else is here and there's a flood, I'm scraping mud out of this place.
Yeah.
I'm cleaning toilets.
I'm cleaning
Men's
toilets.
bathroom. Ladies' bathroom. I'm cleaning the cabins.
There were
all the toilets in there.
there were
the toilets were
instances-
my job.
Ethan
Dang
did
it.
toilets. Like there were instances where stuff would break in the middle of camp,
Oh man.
and they'd be like, "Hey, Wyatt, I need you to plunge my toilet." They were like, "I couldn't do it." I was like, "Did you try?" And then I go in. Of course, now I'm the plunge master. Right? I can unclog any toilet with just a plunger.
And is that from personal experience, or
That's from working at the camp.
you said
that's
you haven't
from
filled a
working-
bowl once or twice?
yeah.
It's from
I may
working
not be
at
the
the
best,
camp.
but I'm pretty good at it too.
Working at the camp and having 6 siblings and 1 toilet at the house during winter,
Huh.
right? Man, it was.
When was the last time you clogged a toilet?
Okay, so let me preface this real quick, right?
I'm coming to you next, Ethan.
Let
So
me
don't
preface
start
this-
laughing too
Let
hard.
me preface this real quick,
Okay.
right? I have a very small toilet in my bathroom, right? This is not an industrial grade toilet, okay? It's not like one of the commercials where it says, prepared for whatever life throws at you. No. This toilet's not prepared, right?
Whatever,
So
like-
actually,
taco from Taco Bell.
so for the
Like,
first
11 tacos.
for the first little while I lived here, I was afraid to go to the bathroom in that toilet because I was afraid that it would clog.
They don't provide plungers here.
No, they don't. I had to go out and buy one. So when I have respectfully, cleaned, everything and done my business, I stand by, plunger ready, right? Like a Spartan and his spear. And I flush the toilet and wait for an attack. Because
wait for the toilet to give you the sign.
The issue isn't that the toilet's just going to clog, right? The toilet has overflowed on me.
Here?
Yes, here.
Wow.
Yes. It overflowed.
Okay.
Right? And so because it's a small toilet and it happens happens quick, right? So you got to be on top.
Yeah.
So the last time I plunged a toilet was the last time I went to the bathroom. Okay?
That's today.
It's today or yesterday.
Okay.
Right? It's fairly regular.
Okay.
With that toilet.
May I say this?
Get more fiber in my diet. Yes, you're right.
No, I'm not going to give you any advice. I'm just going to say this. I've lived here 2 years. I've never clogged the toilet.
Yeah.
And you've clogged my toilet.
Yeah, okay. So there you go. The one time I went, I had to stay over at Joe's while he was at work to watch his cat and wait for a package. I delivered a package of my own. and I clogged his toilet. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, do I need to run over to my house and grab my plunger? And then I'm like, what if the package comes? It's a couch. It's a whole couch. How are they going to get into that?
Back if they can't bring it in.
Yeah. How are they going to get?
What if they have to go to the bathroom?
What if they have to use the restroom? Right? So after quite a while of fretting, I did actually run over to my house and grab my plunger and came back. You didn't have one.
Because I don't clog the
toilet. You didn't have a plunger.
All right, Ethan, before we get to the mud cave, and we'll finish on the mud cave stories, have you ever clogged a toilet before?
Yes, I have.
Recently?
I've clogged my a few weeks ago, but
good.
I had the plunger handy.
Good. Like a Spartan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, more like a barbarian.
Farting.
Farting.
Farting warrior.
But, I wanted to mention one of the also good things about an after camp kind of thing real quick.
Okay.
So we had, 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings, and each of those buildings had a hot water heater or 2. Take a hot shower in this building, runs out of hot water.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the next building, take a hot shower in that building.
You could marathon.
Go to the next, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
You could marathon hot showers, right? If you wanted to take
for at least half the day.
If you wanted to, it was almost like a spa.
Yeah.
Right? You go, you sit in a hot tub, or you sit in a sauna, right? A sauna.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could run from one shower to the other, right? Stark naked.
That's great.
Right? No.
I never did
I
that.
only did that once.
And it was glorious.
It was glorious. But one of the worst things was that you couldn't shower in the winter in the cabins. That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Hot shower, go out into the snow, run around, run to the next building. Hot shower, dude. Yeah,
that would have been amazing.
I am picturing you at Maranatha out in the snow, just naked,
legging it, just legging it with a little towel trailing behind me.
Yeah. Got a few jiggles going through the body as you take your steps. Friggin'
Shirt
all right.
off.
Okay.
Mud cave.
Change the subject. Yeah, mud cave. The mud cave was awesome. I was probably 12, 13 when I first went to the mud cave.
Okay.
And we went as a group.
Yeah.
But the mud cave was always ice cold.
Mm-hmm.
It was always cold in there. Even in the hottest part of the summer, you go into the mud cave. Cold. and it was ice cold. And you couldn't see because it was full of mud. So you had to go in there with some kind of shoes on if you didn't want to hurt your feet. But at the same time, expect to lose a shoe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very possible.
You can go barefoot though. That's what I did.
I
did as
too.
well.
You know, it hurt, but I did.
It's cold on the toes.
My dad
Yes.
eventually forbade us from going to the mud cave.
Well, honestly, if you
Yeah.
think about it,
It's
super
dangerous. It's dangerous
because we
dude.
didn't know
Yeah.
how deep that cave is.
There was a hole at the back.
Yeah, that does
That
go down at a
goes
slant.
down at a slant.
Yeah.
Oof, you don't.
Freaking okay. This is what we should have done. We should have just gotten a fairly maybe like us dudes, Goforth, me and Joshua, maybe like I don't know, Josh, whatever, and just tie a rope that's not too long away from the other person. Right?
Yeah.
Bring multiple flashlights. Get up, break out all of Wyatt's EDC. We each have a flashlight. And then we just go down into the cave. Did you guys ever do that?
No.
But the thing is, if the floor collapsed on us or something like that,
See,
we'd be close. We could.
there was
pull
so
each other
much
out.
mud. I don't think there were any like holes at the bottom of the mud cave or anything.
Yeah.
And it would have been cool to go under the part where you had to duck and then come up in the middle and just chill out there. But man, it was dangerous.
It is dangerous, man. Spelunking is very dangerous, but it's also so
Yeah,
exciting.
it was very fun.
I remember when I went to the mud cave. I think the person who told us about it. Did you guys already know where it was at? Is that how we got up there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
we knew where it was at. Yeah.
Because I remember Tim was there that year.
Yeah.
It's the only actually time I ever went up there because you said they, and there was the other time with the mine
Yeah.
I think
that we.
I think Jeremy Hawk told us about it, or Kristen.
Jeremy or Kristen, yeah.
You know.
And I remember when we went up there and we came back. Daryl Lilly
Yeah.
told us he knew about it and that there was other ones,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I never saw any of the other
I
ones.
never saw the other one
Yeah.
either.
None of us either.
But you guys were covered in
Yeah.
mud.
I wonder if I have a picture.
I remember that
of
We
very
have
clearly.
my mother has pictures of that.
The thing is, when I was around that age, and probably even to this day, if I'm gonna get muddy, I'm getting muddy.
Getting
man.
all the
I'm
way
getting
muddy.
muddy. It's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
That's the part that's exciting about it, you know. But I remember, it looks just like this cave on the side of this hill, and there's a little drizzle coming.
Not
out.
from it doesn't from the road.
Not from the road.
Even in a car, you can't see the cave.
Well, yeah, you can't see
You
it.
see
but
a
I'm
little
talking-
hill.
When you get up to it,
Yeah,
it's just
then-
a little hole in
yeah.
the side of the hill. And you go inside it, and it starts to get a little bigger, but not too much bigger. You gotta
Yeah.
bend down.
freezing.
Yeah,
So cold.
We need to organize a trip and to go up there
Mm-hmm.
and go into the cave and do
Yeah.
something like that.
Oh, we could do it for the podcast.
That
we
would
could
be cool.
record on our
We could.
GoPro.
Yeah.
Get some sweet.
Just not in the
footage.
winter.
No, let's do
we
it in
could
the
do
summer.
it on like a weekend or something.
See, I
But,
never
yeah,
went.
something this
I
summer.
never went back into the cave like a bunch of times because I'm a naturally cautious person.
Mm-hmm. You're not gonna do it alone.
Yeah.
I value my life.
Yeah,
Joe knows this,
yeah.
right?
You're
I-
very prepared.
I'm ready.
always.
I'm ready to run like that
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's a
without
one time
looking back.
you sacrificed me and your cousin.
I didn't sacrifice.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You're gonna outrun us.
I didn't sacrifice you.
That's essentially the same thing.
I ran because I heard
If
something.
someone intends to run to be faster than the other people because you think there might be danger, isn't that essentially sacrificing the other people?
Hmm?
Do you think so?
I just think it's, good thinking, common sense.
Okay.
Survival.
No, it's
Survival of the
so.
fittest.
So when you hear something make a big crunch sound in the woods, do you do what Josh and Joe did, and you
Yes.
go, "What was that?" I
Or
heard.
you run.
I heard the crunch noise. Whew, gone.
No, what happened was me, Josh, and Wyatt out there at night. We're like, we know it's Pennsylvania. It's in the woods. You got black bears up
Yeah.
there. You also got
A
cougars.
lot.
You also
Yeah.
got cougars, which are freaking essentially mountain lions.
They are.
They're the same thing.
Same thing. Freaking the same. Don't get confused.
So it's nighttime. Me, Josh, he's been on the podcast. Not our Josh, but
Josh
your
Goforth.
Josh. Our Josh. Not our Josh, but our Josh.
Our Josh.
Yeah.
It's just us three.
Yeah.
It's nighttime. It's during
Walking.
camp. We're not in the woods, but we hear something from the woods. We hear a crunch, and I'm like, Josh, did you hear that? And I'm like, Wyatt. And you weren't there. And friggin', I look behind, and you know at night how you've seen it in movies if you haven't seen it in person. There's a little light source, and someone just exits the light source, and all of a sudden it's just like they went into blackness. Well,
Yeah.
that's what happened here. You exited the light source, but all I saw was the back of your khakis just escaping into the darkness.
I remember you talking about this the next day.
Yeah, I felt betrayed.
A lot of things have happened in that dark area at night. Like once I was walking, talking to a friend of mine, and Slater Gaddy took a ball and he threw it up in the air, right? And then he's like, I had no idea where you were. He's like, I didn't mean to throw it at you. He's like, but I threw that ball into the darkness. And it hit me in the head or in the back, and I went, ah! So
you're
Slater,
thinking-
from Slater's point of view, he threw a ball and then waited and heard, ah!
He probably heard like a
Ah!
But okay, so you're saying this is essentially like the Bermuda Triangle. Of
Yeah, in that,
darkness.
you know, where the net is for volleyball,
Yeah, I
right? It's
know.
real dark in there sometimes.
I
Yeah.
know that's you escaped into the darkness.
Oh, I was gone.
You were gone.
I did this a lot though as a kid.
You ran from things.
If I heard something that was scary, run.
He's still running.
If I saw a grown up I didn't want to talk to while we were sitting at a fire,
That's easy.
gone.
Run.
I would.
You know what? You did that to me too.
I know.
You know what? Like freaking, we would be out late when everyone's in bed, and Dan Dahlgren would hear us chattering by the fire, and he would come out, and he already saw the group of people out there. So we're like, all right, we're gonna either talk to him, or he's gonna tell us he's talking to our parents, or we're gonna be in trouble, or he's just gonna tell us to go to bed. And Wyatt bounces in seconds.
Oh, I would.
You ran from punishment.
I wouldn't. Nobody would see me run.
Yeah, because you were swifty.
I would. If I saw
You
somebody.
just get up and walk away.
If I saw somebody.
ran. He always ran.
Sometimes I would get up and walk away. I'd see somebody from afar and I'd get up like I needed to do something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would hide and watch, right? Sometimes I remember.
Because there were always cars parked there.
I
You
remember
could hide
sitting.
behind
I
them.
remember sitting on one of the logs, and I saw it was probably Dan or somebody coming our way, and I just laid back and rolled off the back of the log, and then rolled my way under a car, and got up on the other side and sat against a tire and
You
waited.
pulled out your cigarettes and just
Yeah. Just wait. And then I would wait, and I think what gave me the biggest pleasure was like I would wait, and when the person that left, they'd be like, "Where's Wyatt?" And then I would fade back in.
You know what?
It was so
you
fun.
would go into the week not willing to work in the kitchen, not willing to do anything but hang out with your friends and your cousin.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, "Hey, you not working in the kitchen? I'm not working in the kitchen." We would get in trouble. Well, I would get in trouble. We would have all these kind of adventures. But in moments of need, you bounce.
in moments of I don't want to deal with this, or I'm scared out of my mind.
Dude,
Gone.
but it's so thrilling to be scared with your friends.
But now,
So
granted,
fun.
listen.
Okay.
Listen, I ran to the cabin that night, right? I ran away from whatever that was.
Yeah.
But did I not come out? Did I not come back out of the cabin with a tomahawk?
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did.
Well, you exited the cabin with your tomahawk and was like one of these.
I was doing one of these. Exactly.
You guys still alive out there? Holding your tomahawk in the light, so if anyone comes near you, you can see it.
I want them to see I'm armed.
All right. Any other final stories you have, Ethan? Any plans for the future you'd like to share?
Okay. One last thing.
Go ahead.
So there was this conference I went to a couple months ago called YSC conference in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. brother Sean Tab was holding it. He's an evangelist. It was probably two of the best days in my recent memory. It was awesome. Anyway, they're holding a camp in, I think it's October. So I want to go to that for a week, and I'm super excited about it.
Very cool.
So yeah. Whenever that happens, I'll give an update on that.
It's October, you say?
October.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you can make it to the camp, man. It sounds like a good time.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and close it off there. I feel. Go ahead.
Just fade away.
I was just gonna. Ethan doesn't really have like a place you can visit him. He has an Instagram, right?
Yeah.
He's not like a creator.
It's a good thing Joshua is in here, because he would
Right.
be like, hit him up in them DMs.
Hit him up in the DMs. But he does have an Instagram. It's Ethan Goforth, or Goforth Ethan, or however it is.
Ethan Go 226.
Ethan Go 226,
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's
right? And
Yeah.
and he posts churchly things.
Churchly.
His churchly his churchly duties.
Yeah,
He's always posting something about music or a sermon or something.
or something from Nacho Libre.
Yeah. So,
I haven't done one of those. I will.
but it always looks like looks like a fun time.
Yeah. You should do the little GIF of he's like, Nacho's like, kitchen duty, dead guy, duty.
Duty.
If it's time for me to get a better duty, and then tag somebody who you work for that's in the ministry that on Instagram.
Kitchen
just as a
duty.
slight-
Yeah.
Dead guy. Duty.
It was this is a little bit different this week. It's just kind of hanging out, getting to know Ethan a little bit, telling stories. We'll do this again. I mean, he's a part of the family because he's your brother. He's a good, sweet friend of mine.
Thank you.
And
I like being called sweet.
you're sweet.
Call me
You're
Sweet
sweet.
Pete.
So when
Ethan was the Sour Patch Kid,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
At first it's sour,
At first it's sour, then it's sweet.
and we're taking that very literally. The
Yeah.
beginning of his life was
Very sour.
And
We
now he's
probably
sweet.
made this analogy on the Midnight Special.
I don't know. That sounds pretty
Probably.
fresh in my mind.
Maybe.
Sounds pretty fresh. But if you see him again in the future on the podcast, you'll know what we're doing. We're just talking stories. We're just hanging out and enjoying company. So
Yeah.
we hope you guys
So
enjoyed it.
closing comment from me.
Closing comment.
Guys, don't just go and sit on the pew and make that all you do. All right?
There you go.
Do something more.
Amen.
Amen, brother.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Hey.
That was a little too Joel Osteen, but
All right, I'm gonna do the final plug as Joel Osteen.
Do it.
find it.
I'm finding it. We're so glad.
Feel it.
We're so glad that you joined us for this episode today with Ethan Goforth. He's such a blessing to all of us here.
Thank you,
We
Joel.
want to just encourage you to go to wiseworksfilms.com. You'll be able to find out everything for the podcast. Just remember, if you subscribe and hit the bell, Jesus will bless you. Don't forget it. We love you. We want you to come back.
Heresy.
We want you to come back. We want you to watch more of our episodes. And don't forget to pre-order your tickets for every Sunday service.
Oh my gosh. Does he say that?
I don't know. He doesn't say the tickets, but that's
that
true.
sounds like
you
something
gotta
you'd
get a
have to
ticket
do.
to
That
go to
sounds like
Lakewood.
Joel
tickets.
Osteen.
You gotta get a ticket, man. All right. We love you guys. The same way that Ethan
Loves the Lord.
loves the Lord. We're going real Jesus on this one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hallelujah.
I love you guys.
Love you, man. Bye.
Bye.